Welcome to Web Scraping for Fun and Profit in AL. Hey, I'm Eric, and quite often these days now we're working with OData and perhaps even SOAP and RESTful and tons of web services, and we do all this with the HTTP client and call web service, and it's perhaps easy to forget that hey, it's actually the same protocol that serves pages on a normal web page, and once in a while you might actually need to find some information, get some information programming wise that is not at a nice endpoint, but you gotta go back to an ancient technique we dinosaurs called web scraping, meaning that you call out and you store the page, and we used to do that when before planes with internet. You downloaded manual pages, frantic in the airport to make sure that you had the stuff you need while flying for 8 hours without connectivity. And we can kind of do the same with AL. And the reason this suddenly crossed my mind was that I was playing around with finding a non-authenticated way to figure out what is the newest version of an app. So like here is the SharePoint connector on AppSource. That is a great app, by the way. They did not pay me to say that, but it is a great app. And I made it. Here we can see that there's a version number on the web page. So can we, could we create a little service that will call this web Python extract the web page, and did I say web py? No, I didn't do that. The web page that will extract this version number, and then we can verify whether we need to inform the user, hey, there's a new version of an app. So let's try to see if we can figure that out. So we'll grab the URL and then we'll find, here is a fresh app in VS Code. So I'll create an HTTP client variable because this is what's going to do the work. I need a response. And for some reason, every time I try to type response, it's actually, that was my dog. It's actually I mistyping the S. Anyway, we create one of those. So now we can do if HTTP client.get, and we'll get this long and ugly URL. Let's actually remove the query string here and then pass in the response, then begin. So we can do if response dot is successful status code. Then let's create another variable here called raw HTML as a text variable. I'm just adding begin and end because I don't know where I'm gonna do stuff yet. So we can do response.content.read as raw HTML. Let's try if this works. So we are getting the page, we're checking that we got a successful call, and we're reading this. So we're totally ignoring all the else cases if this fails, because we'll see that in the debugger hopefully at this point. Let's see what happens. We need to log in. We can certainly do that. And there is the debugger flashing. So we got a breakpoint. Excellent. We get, let's see. That's interesting. I keep getting here. I'm hitting F5. I should probably put another breakpoint. Oh, that's why. I keep, anyway, okay. Always allow web scraping to do its thing. Let's see where we're at now. You saw that, by the way. This is the first time I've caught that on video. So I get a breakpoint, then I switch over to VS Code, and it's like pseudo frozen. Then I can switch away from it and focus back, and then it will show me where the breakpoint is. Very weird. The first time I caught that on video. Anyway, we got a successful call. So we will just click once here, and then let's check what's in raw HTML. Aha. So we got a bunch of data here. So let's copy that somewhere, and we could start by actually just pasting it into a file and see if we can find 2.0.0.122. We can. It's sitting somewhere in one long line, but there's at least twice where it's found. Okay, so let's ignore that. So what I want to do in a case like this is actually go and grab a regex engine here, and I like this one, regex 101. That's actually pretty good, even if you have big data. So I'll just paste the raw HTML in we got, and then let's actually see if we can. Let's see if we can create an expression here up here. So what we're searching for is, we know that it's 2 point, and you see the point is, I need to put a backslash in front of that. 2.0 backslash point 0 backslash point 122. We got that, and we can see that here. So we got 2 matches in the file from this regex. So you see, we're searching for 2. So this is just a regular dot. The backslash is turned because the dot is also a control character in the regex language. We need to backslash to be sure that this is a dot. Anyway, we found that. That's pretty good, but actually that won't. We can see that this is actually inside some JSON. So we have 2 options here. One option is to continue with regex. The other option is to see if we can extract this piece of JSON from the HTML and then pass that with the JSON object. I think I'll just continue with regex for now. So we need to figure out what's before and after, and that's pretty easy. So let's see if we can do. So I'll go in front of this here and then say quote app version quote, and then the quote needs to be backslashed, and then colon, and then there's another quote, then we have our thing, and then there's a backslash or double quote. So now we're kind of searching for, you can see here that we're searching for the entire JSON value statement, and that's pretty good. But again, this is actually not what we're searching for, right? We're searching because we don't know the version number. So right now we're cheating. So what I want to do now here is saying, okay, we are certainly not searching for the number 2, but I know that we're searching for \d, and then let's say up till 5 digits. So we're searching for app version, quote, colon, double quote, and then some digits, and after that there's always a dot, right? And then we can actually just take this little piece up here. Actually, I can make this bigger, I think. How about this? And then I'm gonna replace this 0 with the same thing, so we still have the same matches. Replace this 0 with the same thing, we still have the same matches, and I replaced the 122, and now we still have the same matches. And so now we have something that will find a version number. So let's actually just go, if we click overview and then we click on the cloud replicator, that's another great app. we can see that that's a different version. So I'll grab this URL and I'll paste this into this guy. No, that was the URL. Wow. Man. I will show the source and then I'll grab the source and I'll copy the source into this thing. I will copy the source. This is not my day. What is happening? There, copy. Am I losing my mind here? Copy. Interesting. Okay, then we have other means of this. Let's grab this URL and put it into our app, because then we can, like, that was weird. We'll run the app, since copy paste is not an option from, I don't know what's going on. Got a breakpoint, boom, boom, boom. We'll ask for raw HTML. Got that, we copy the value from here. If this doesn't work, then it's clearly this page. Can I undo, undo, undo? This is weird. Let me just grab this guy. Boom. I'm just gonna copy it off screen somewhere, clearly not where I here. That's not what I wanted to do. And then I want to reload this thing. And I'm totally gonna do this, the source code over here again. Copy. Paste. There we go. And then I'll put our regex thing back. Here we go. And that was a long way to. Anyway, it looks like this is working. So how do we replicate this inside BC? Well, we can use regex in BC too. I want to do one thing, because now you see, now we have, so this is regex and it works, but you can also make it nice actually. And the nice thing is actually pretty easy. So let me show you what I do. So what we actually want to capture. So this is a match, but this is not what we want to grab. We want to grab, so now I put a parenthesis here, and I go to the last thing and I put a parenthesis here. And now you can see that we have a match, and within the match we have a group. In this case now, group 1 is just the version of what we want. So we can do the same thing in here. So let me go out of this thing. And then what we need is a regex. That is a code unit called regex, not just regex. And then we need something called matches, which is a table called matches, plural. I don't know why that is. And we can do one called groups, and there's another table, again plural, called groups. Okay, so with this we can say regex, and what we want to do is match. And what parameters are the match? Well, it needs some input, so that's clearly our raw HTML. Then it needs a pattern. Well, we got that from here. This is our pattern. So let's grab this thing. We put this in here. And then what is the last parameter? The last parameter is, I think, the starter. We don't need starter. We just need some matches. There we go. So now we have regex running and doing. And now we're just doing a single call. There's you can do fancy stuff with compiling the regex for if you want to use the same thing over and over again. There's lots of fancy stuff you can do with regex, but since we're doing a one-off here, we'll just do it like this. So now we can say actually, and I'm just putting temporary in these just for because I can't remember if they actually are marked. I think they are marked temporary by default. So we can say if matches find set. So if we have something, then that's great. Then within the match, we can go and say, okay, regex, there's a function called groups that takes our current matches and gets a groups record. And I'm totally just, because I know that if there's a match, there's also a group. So in this case, I can just do groups get one, which is the first one. And then we can do message version is %1 dot, just %1. Let's not play with split also. So now we can do copy string. So what you get out of regex and the groups, and if you can also, there's also another level called captures, is just positions. So those are positions within the source, in this case our raw HTML line. So we can do raw HTML, and then we go from groups index +1, because this happens to be 0 indexed, and AL is 1 indexed, of course, so we need to account for that. And then there's a one called length. So let's see if that works. So we have a breakpoint, that is excellent. We do a get, we're successful, we read it, we'll do a match. We have a match, so we can, we can go and see what's in matches. We have an index, we have a length. You see that's 24, because that's the length here is all this. That's probably 24 characters. So what's interesting is if let me make this, move this one down a bit. So we will go to groups thing and get the group, and then we can take a look at groups and see what's in that one. If we are allowed to do that. We're not? Okay. Well, in that case, we're just going to run the program, apparently. And where are we? We are here. No, license. So version is 1.0033. I think we get it twice because we had 2 matches. So that actually worked. I'm not sure why this didn't work, but witness, debugger witness. So in 10 lines of code with no error checking, we actually just grabbed a random page of a web server, used regex to locate something that was very locatable, and within that we created a pretty nice. So look, here's the problem. This is why regex has such a bad name. Because if you just look at something like this, oh man, that is hard to read. But when we walk through this and say, okay, search for a double quote, then search for app version, another double quote, a colon, a double quote, then we create a group of things, and in the group we need 1 to 5 digits, dot 1 to 5 digits, dot 1 to 5 digits, dot 1 to 5 digits, and then we need a double quote. And it kind of makes sense. This is not that hard to explain, but visually, it's your eyes will be bleeding. But it's actually pretty clever, and would take way more effort to do with traditional means. Anyway, so we find the matches. In this case, we look through them. We could just go for the first one, I guess, and from the match we extract the group. So because we only here we just made one parenthesis, then that's one group. Another way you could do this was potentially, you could go and do. Hang on, that was the wrong place. Haha. You could do this, right? So now we're getting 4 groups right up here, because we added 4 set of parentheses in here. So now we got the versions split out. You could even try to go crazy and do like this. So now we have, you see, more parentheses. So now we have 5 groups. So now we got group 1 is the whole thing, and then we got group 1 to 4 are the separate things. So regex is pretty clever, and it's pretty easy to actually work with in here. So this is the way I always do regex. I have some sort of a there's also, by the way, a video on specifically on working with regex. If you haven't seen that, then get subscribed. There's lots of good videos here. But I work with something like this to figure out the regex. Very interactive, and then when I have a good expression, I grab that and put it into the code. So because in here that's just a few lines of code to actually work with this. So that's web scraping with regex. And sometimes if there's something that's out there, of course, here's the thing, that this will break as soon as Microsoft changes something on that page. If they decide, hey, we'll no longer send the data to the page out as JSON, then this will break. And that's the risk of doing something. But the good thing about this is that you can actually get, in this case, you can get the version number without having authenticated with anything, which is complicated in some cases. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you could ever want to do stuff like that. And the almighty YouTube algorithm created this video, so go check that one out. It's a good one. Take care. Bye.